Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly world session. It is July 14th, 2026. And this week we decided to look at parasites. So, the first thing is to balance the gut microbiome as though it's cortices. So, I'm just looking at as an entire brain, even looking at the small intestines enteric plexus as a brain, and then link it out to the microbiome of the colon. So you might just feel that tension, that movement, and we want to get that gut brain to focus anywhere in the body where we've got parasite. Now there's a lot of different parasites in the body, some of them that we might need and some of them that need to go. So there's stress as related to parasite, sugar is related to parasite, and consciousness. We'll do all three. Sugar, we're going to look at liver, gallbladder, and pancreas reflex point. And we'll do a little tiny CDRI, it's called the CDRI formula, on the pancreas reflex point, just to bring in lots of circulation and life and get the piezoelectrics to start working on that PRP in relationship to sugar to wherever there would be parasite. I'm seeing some parasite in the brain. So if I look at I'm looking at the world as one big person, and the world head and then the body emanating from the world and then all of the beings on it. So us acting as parasites on the planet, meaning my consciousness can be parasitic. How can it be parasitic? Well, manipulation without awareness of manipulation. So awareness would be everything. So if I have awareness of what I'm doing in life, especially, the extreme being the dark tetrad or the dark triads, those extremes. And then the other extreme is somebody super good, super nice, super whatever, loving, or even just so caring that they almost don't have any interaction in the world. So we want to get midline so that the balance, this is of the gut brain. We don't necessarily shift the consciousness of each individual so they're in the middle. That would mean everybody's the same. And we definitely don't want everyone to be the same. There is a consciousness where, let's say the matrix is trying to make everyone think the same. So if everyone thinks the same, then there'll be no disagreement with whatever enactments need to occur. I'm being very vague and cryptic about that because you might look at your gut brain and go, I don't like it when my gut brain's disrupted. I don't like it when my body's disrupted. I don't like having ill health. I don't like being in conflict. But without conflict, there is no awareness that arises. Right? It's almost like idiocracy. It's almost like being drugged out and you don't know what's going on. Being triggered, being in ill health means you are working at the conflicts that are required to be worked on within yourself and the world. Meaning that it's not the world, I should say the collective, right? So conflict means you're alive. If there's no conflict, then you could be very ill. Like a lot of people who say, I've never been ill, I'm not sick. And then all of a sudden you find out they drop dead at 40 years old. What's that about? Or someone who looks really healthy, they do all the right things, they eat the right food, they go to the bathroom the right amount of time, they drink enough, the right amount of water, they do exercise, they've got, a modicum of stress, and they die early. Why? Because there's no conflict. I never get sick. I never have a problem. I'm never triggered. Okay, good for you. But you're not learning anything. You're not alive. Life requires masculine and feminine order and chaos. Yes, when it goes too extreme, if you got too much order, that's like the dead zone. If you got too much chaos, that's too much. That overstresses. But when we're in the middle and we're able to go up and down and deal with those stressors and figure out how I kind of been focusing on this. This is probably something to do with my consciousness, not just the general consciousness, but it just makes sense. I think I don't know what you could comment below, like what what would be the reason that I would want to deal with conflict? Well, I want to make my life better. If if I have conflict and I just stay in it and I don't do anything about it, that's not good either. But having conflict and dealing with it and making my life better each time, that's a really good thing. So none of us, when we're in the throes of conflict, do we like it? But it's a good way to determine, which I'm going to help you with right now, is where you are in your levels of development. So if you need everything to go your way, you don't like the conflict, you could be stuck at a level. You could be stuck at, I just want what I want and I want it to be satisfied. And you just do it. You can imagine that's a baby, right? That's a little baby. And many of us are stuck in that baby level. Then the next one is we go to appease someone so that we can connect. We realize we can connect when we're little kids. We realize, oh, I can connect with someone else and I can get what I want. I could give them something and they're going to give me something. So we start to do that, but we could get stuck there as well. Then there's the next level where we go into, oh, now I know I have power. I can manipulate you to give me what I want, right? So you can probably remember that. And you probably, many people say, I don't manipulate anyone. Yeah, you do. You do. It doesn't mean it's always bad, right? It doesn't mean it's always good. That's for you to figure out. But yeah, we're always manipulating in some way. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But when we start to manipulate, to gain power, to do negative things, to do bad things for the person or society, well, now you're in trouble, which that gets really complicated because you could think you're doing something good for the world, but you're stuck in a level that is immature and you think you can just do things simply. So, in healing work, we always say, you've got to learn how to do like the work I'm doing. There's a way to learn how to do it. You can take lessons, you can go to classes, you can learn how to do it. Now, the way I do it does not look like a beginner's way of doing it, but you can't just do it the way I do it without going through the process because there's a lot of things going on within me that you don't see happening. But I'm asking millions of questions really quickly. I'm exaggerating, but there's really thousands because every word I say is being checked. Now, sometimes you'll hear me go, no, that's not it because I heard, no, you're on the wrong track. You're just on the wrong track. So I can get myself back on track. I can correct it. There's also a fail safe, right? Whatever you're hearing, you're not hearing exactly what I'm saying. I have visuals in my head and I translate those to you and then they go through your filters and they get translated. So I'm reading what the world needs. It goes through my filters and I speak it. Then the speaking of that goes through your filters. So there's nothing really, well, there can be something that's clearly stated, but a lot of it is filtered. And that's okay because there's a fail-safe mechanism that nothing will get balanced, that the body mind, the innate wisdom of your body mind doesn't want. So what do I mean by that? Well, we're doing a group treatment. I'm focusing on a particular subject with a particular group. And that group is holding the energy and the dynamic of doing this work. Where each of them will take what they need separately, and then the world will take what it needs separately as well. You won't take everything. But the general features, like maybe there's a parasite somewhere, maybe there's something going on in your gut brain that needs to change. All the levels of maturation, each and every one of us can be stuck at some part of a lower level. Like I know when I'm tired and I'm, in a bad mood and I've been doing too much and let's say truly frightened, I'm just going to be down at level 1. I'm just going to go down to level 1. It's like all I have is the desire to to be safe right now. That's all I want. I just want to calm myself down. Now, an adult says, okay, I know that's happening to me, so I'm going to breathe. I'm going to step back so that I can reply in a proper way. But when we go into having a fit and screaming and yelling, you're really that's a greater amount of stuckness on level 1. Or inside you're screaming and you can't get out and you stay there, and then you go and talk to people and say, oh, this is going on with me. You're stuck in level 1. But when you know, hey, okay, I just went back to level 1. I know that's happening. What are the things I need to do to take care of myself so I can get back into I'm able to understand the world around me. So a lot of people actually go from, let's say, lower levels to higher levels, and they believe they know what's going on because they jump the levels. So we don't want to jump the levels. We want to make sure that there's no parasite either, or what you're craving or the way your microbes are operating in your body, that they're contributing to making things more difficult to being able to mature, which brings me into the individuation process. We're just going to do immaturity. So, identities that are involved with immaturity and holding that immaturity and lack of awareness to individuation.
Yes.
Okay, so that really, really drew up whatever's in the gut brain that's all mixed up. There we go. We've got it again. Beauty, beauty, beauty.
Yes.
And we're going to bring blood supply. So this is going to go to the areas you need. So let's say you've got an area where the microbes, so it's not just parasites, we're in microbes, but also oxidative stress. So let's say you've got too many heavy metals or even too many metals. Like let's say somebody has too much iron rather than iron deficiency, or somebody's got too much copper. We want to make sure that that oxidative stress starts to leave, but we're also going to get the blood to take it out. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm wondering if I have copper. Okay. I know I don't have enough iron, but copper? Yeah, yeah. What's going on? Okay. Maybe it's one of the gang. I don't know. All right. Now I'm going to go into some physiognomy. Um, this is structure and direction. So the direction of the eyes, if someone has um, a particular parasite, so there could be a lot of people on the planet. I don't think our group is going to have, you might have something little going on inside that needs to be cleaned out, but so far here in this group, I don't see a big giant parasite. But I do see in the world that there can be some parasites that are, they take over. So we want to start clearing those out for those individuals and for groups of individuals, whoever's going to receive and take this on. And then oxidative stress, there's going to be for all of us in the group, especially one person's got some extra oxidative stress. Okay, so that's really tiring. And now somebody else is coming in right now for. So, what I wanted to really look at with all of this parasitic stuff is how it affects the hormonal system. So, where did I put it? There we go. So, we're looking at, sorry, lots of burping. We're going to look at the pituitary and its relationship to, are we doing adrenals, ovaries, testes, pancreas, thymus, thyroid? We've got the pituitary in there and pineal. So it's going to be the pituitary in relationship to the pancreas. So consciousness of the pancreas that we're going to work with is actually adaptability, and the pituitary requires some adaptability to occur. So let's say our pituitaries are, not everyone, but some of us have a little oxidative stress. So you can get like a buildup around the pituitary. I want to start a fragmentation program there, but also photon just to really bombard it and get that stuff off the pituitary, then allow circulation, a circulation plug-in to go in there and allow the adaptation of all the qualities of the pituitary, which are feminine energy, harmony, insight, intuition, and creativity. Okay. So all of that within the pituitary and allow it then to connect to the pineal, which is the masculine, so we could get those circadian rhythms working really well, and also to allow the endocrine system to be releasing appropriately what it needs for the best balance of all the 7 endocrines. So there's some kind of, let's say, resistance or malfunctioning or miscommunication, and between all of this, that the oxidative stress or parasitic, anything parasitic, even if a virus is acting parasitic, by the way, or a mold is acting parasitic, right? You can say that mold would act that way. You could say a virus is, leaching off the body. So we're working in that way as well. And we want the pituitary to adapt by using the pancreas's adjustment. So this could also relate to when there are sugar cravings, or you've got, your sugar is not balanced in the system, then that would also be part and parcel of what's going on here, because a lot of those things need sugar, like candida needs sugar, viruses like sugar, and parasites like sugar. They all like sugar. We're going to use that sugar so we can proliferate. Now we want to get really strongly, we're bringing strength and blood. This whole session's got a lot of blood in it. I'm seeing blood everywhere. Our blood getting strong, our blood supplying different areas that may not have been supplied, our blood feeding us, not feeding the parasites and microorganisms. Wow, there's just super burps. Okay, calm and take a breath now, and I will tap you all out. And I'm really going to use a super tapping within the inside the walls of the pancreas and on the outside of the walls of the pancreas, getting that adaptation to start working. So even if you've got a viral load, you've got microbes, any microbes that are proliferating that shouldn't be, it's because the immune system is not adapting. And I'm looking at what do I need to do? Why isn't it adapting? Is there anything else we need to do? Well, part of it is hormones, part of it is pituitary, but the other part is when we get stuck at an immature phase, or we get stuck in a consciousness, right? And your average person, let's say you call them normies, your normie is going to get caught in a particular pattern for sure. I mean, that's going to happen. But for the spiritual folk out there, those of us who look at consciousness, we can also get stuck in thinking we know what the problem is, or using techniques that are also insistent, which is kind of fascinating, right? If I learn something and I know something and I don't blow it out of the water at some point, and keep questioning its flexibility, its durability, its validity, and its efficacy as well. We need to have all of those constantly being tested. We go back here to filters of perception. What I perceived as true, even if I use the same phrase, right? They're really famous phrases like mind manifests matter. And we can study that for years and years, and we will shift our perception of how that works. When I was young, people would tell me, oh, it's all in your head. Mind manifests matter. You can manifest anything. And so I spent a lot of years trying to manifest $1 million. Did not happen. did not happen. That just didn't happen. All right. Okay. Interesting. So I was curious as to why, if my mind can, so I could manifest certain things and I could help people manifest certain things, but other things didn't manifest. So that's a study you can do for yourself. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it is fascinating to work with one phrase. Gurdjieff, he has a book called I Am Only Then When I Am. Gotta love that phrase, right? Because I mean, just think about it. I am only then when I am. Like, that's just crazy. And the minute I have consciousness of I am, then I'm already going to have a limitation in there. I can be, the only time I can be the I am is when, oh, I am. But if I say it, then I'm no longer am. That's one view. You can come up with a whole bunch of other ways to look at this phrase, but I'm always looking at it, and actually, that's a new one for me. Uh, I had it a different way before I even did this session. So this session has already shifted my perception of I am only then when I am. So you can use all kinds of different um, there are a lot of people throughout my life. I traveled around and, I'd be reading. I loved having 10 books with me and I'd be reading. And I would meet people who would only have one book, one. And it would be dog eared and they'd go through it over and over again. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense that you would read one book over and over again. It has the same sort of information that a lot of different esoteric books have, or Advaita books have, and you don't need to read it. But then you have different people who want to read it in a different way. So one teacher, if you read, like I love Krishnamurti, there's the Maharishi, there's Yogananda, there's so many different teachers out there, and I like reading all their different ways, so I can crack open the areas in which I've limited my thinking. And then I can figure out where I'm immature. And when I figure out where I'm immature, then I can work at maturing that process. Anyway, for now, that's all I'm going to do there to help the immune system not not have something take hold because of our consciousness. Okay, I hope that made sense, but that's really what I'm saying. Maybe it needs to remain a little cryptic rather than giving an explanation. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. That was a heavy duty session. So let's see what happens. Have a good one. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Have a great week. Bye.